Welcome to Meadowbrook Memories podcast. I am Jelly, otherwise known as Glaister Prince, and my co-host is Hitchcock, otherwise known as Alfred Henry. Our mission on this podcast series is to explore the stories behind the magic that was created at Meadowbrook. When over a span of 4 years, between 1982 and 1986, we saw the transformation of a small co-educational school with less than 1,200 students, 800 boys, 800 girls and 400 boys into a successful sports and scholastic champion, winning 7 major trophies, 3 Sunlight Cup, 2 Topping Cup, 1 Walker Cup, and 1 Nutriment Shield. And to crown these achievements, Meadowbrook also produced 2 Rhodes Scholars, Cavell Creighton in 1987 and Andrea Wright in 1989, both graduates of Meadowbrook in 1983. In this podcast series, we'll be speaking to persons, both males and female, who are actively involved in this incredible journey, along with friends and staff at Meadowbrook, which inspired the environment which created this golden era. We hope you enjoy our discussion. Please give us as much support and encouragement as you can on whatever social media platform you are listening. Welcome and thanks for joining us. Alright, ready? So, remember to like, share, and subscribe these Meadowbrook Memories podcasts so neither you nor your friends will miss another Meadowbrook conversation. Thanks. Today is Thursday, July 13, 2023, and welcome back to another conversation about Meadowbrook Memories. Me as usual, Glaister, our Prince, our Lance, our Jelly, and any one of those names will do. Join me as co-host today is my original co-host for this conversation, Alfred Hitchcock Henry. And you should go back to listen to episode number 10 and listen to Freddie Meadowbrook Memories, and make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button while listening. Our next co-host was Ed Boy when I started Meadowbrook in 1974, and he was a member of that first Morning Cup match I watched for Meadowbrook against Camperdown. He was also a guest on episode, I don't remember what Keith's episode was, sorry. But we'll look it up and get that. But you should go back and listen to Keith White Meadowbrook Memories and like, share, and subscribe and hit the notification button while listening. Our next co-host was also a former head boy, and he has also been on this podcast before. And if you type in Vivian Thomas Meadowbrook Memories or Keith White Meadowbrook Memories, you'll find both of these gentlemen podcasts. And Vivian's podcast was the most informative about the vision of the founders of our school. And I thought it would be useful for him to join the discussion tonight. And you must go back and listen to Vivian's episode. And of course, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button while listening. Our guest tonight really don't need an introduction to the current Meadowbrook community, because he's well known to the students at Meadowbrook since 2019. He's the middle child of Ray, Ronald, and Ione Facey. He's married to the beautiful, smart, and funny Sorry, Mr. Facey, I'm mispronouncing your wife's name. Dania, sorry. Thank you. For over 10 years. And his only challenges with her is that she's a Man United fan, which I can understand. We can't get everything we want. He's the father of 2 young daughters, aged 8 and 3. He has been an educator for over a quarter of a century, and he seems to like a lot of things I like good music, beaches and rivers, reading, having good conversation, which is we have on weekly at Meadowbrook Memories, and of course, watching the best football club in the world, Liverpool Football Club. But without further ado, Meadowbrook Memories welcome Mr. Kevin Facey, our current principal to our beloved school, to the conversation. Introduce yourself, Mr. Facey.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Jelly, Sir Thomas, Keith, and Alfred Henry. Thank you very much. I'm just here to just enjoy your company and hear your stories and have a good conversation.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Facey. Thank you. And Freddie, reintroduce yourself.
Game out Hitchcock now. Class of 1980. Former Manning Cup player. Sunlight Cup captain 1980. and a troublemaker.
All right, thank you, Freddie.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Yeah. And Keith, reintroduce yourself for me.
Okay, pleasure to be back. Just a quick. Keith White is the name. Left Meadowbrook in. It's a pleasure to be here. Left Meadowbrook in 1975 after completing 2 years of sixth form, and some people call me Major White. Some call me Captain White, but my friends and schoolmates from Meadowbrook call me Nut, and that's a long story.
All right. Thank you, Keith. And Vivian, reintroduce back yourself for me, please.
Good evening, Lance. Good night to everybody and to our listeners. I am Vivian Thomas, graduated from Meadowbrook in 1979 after 2 years in the sixth form. I am a perpetual supporter of the school, and I'm Meadowbrookian to the core. And it's just a pleasure for me to be here this evening so that we can speak with Mr. Facey and get his ideas as to where the school is going and what sort of support he needs from us who are listening. Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. And Mr. Facey, I don't know how you heard about this conversation, but if you have been listening, and I have to ask you the first question, the same question I asked everybody. Did you choose Meadowbrook or Meadowbrook chose you?
Well, I spent some time thinking about this, and I can say with confidence, yes to both. I'll explain why. I never had the privilege of being a student at Meadowbrook. I went to a different school, which I shall not mention, but I had to interview when the opportunity came up. So Meadowbrook panel chose to offer me this opportunity to serve, and I chose to accept it. So I can say yes to both.
So
Meadowbrook chose me, and I chose Meadowbrook.
Okay. So were you a teacher at the school before, Mr. Facey?
No, sir. I taught for 21 years at another institution. And after 21 years, probably 18 years in, I decided I wanted to serve at a different level, a little higher up. And I literally made some moves, did some training, and the opportunity came up at Meadowbrook, and I applied and interviewed, and they said, all right, come. And I said, all right, I will. So
Okay.
that's it.
Yeah. So what did you hear about Meadowbrook before you decided? So you choose it and they choose you. What sort of reputation was it in your mind?
That one's easier. I have a couple of good friends who are Meadowbrookians, but they would have been around my age. I grew up in the United Church in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, so I was aware of Meadowbrook. And in my interactions with all of my Meadowbrook friends, people like, I guess I should name them now, people like Vincent Hamilton, Karen Braham, Clyde Shaw, Roger Shaw, Lauriston Burris Green, all of the guys that are probably 80s, 90s people. I found that they were a very interesting mix of quietly confident, flexible persons who were very reliable and relatable, and I thought that was admirable. And as I looked more on it, I realized that it is in my mind part of one of the traits of Meadowbrook past students. You know, I've not found them to be people who are obnoxious. I found them to be people who keep their promises and are able to excel, and they do it with quiet confidence and determination. So that was my experience of Meadowbrook, and from the outside and in the inside, all of those things, plus people who are talented in many different ways, and people who tried things until they found something that worked for them, which I thought was cool. Still think it's cool.
Mm-hmm. And I must ask you this up front, Mr. Facey, because I've spoken to a lot of students who came after I left, and a lot of them didn't know the reputation of the school that in the 80s, it was a golden era of Meadowbrook as far as I'm concerned, right? We won a whole heap of trophies and we produced 2 Rhodes Scholars. When you heard about Meadowbrook, were you aware I want a performance, but just the reputation of Meadowbrook School, both academically and the sports field, when you came
Yeah,
to school.
I was more aware of the sports than the academics, to be truthful. Um, and part of the reason is that I have been a follower of Manning and the Costa Cups from about 1984. So I was aware of the Walker Cup feats and the performance in Manning Cup from Meadowbrook. I was not as versed in the cricket, although before I came, I realized that in around 2010, they had we won a Grace A-League championship. And I knew about like the other sports. Like I know that Meadowbrook was a powerhouse for many years in softball. I did great work in baseball and even had some people who qualified for scholarships on the back of those things. And from time to time, I would have heard about their performance in volleyball and stuff and netball. So I heard stuff. And as a teacher at another school, I was part of the support staff who played Meadowbrook a couple of times in Manning Cup and in Pole. So I had that view of it.
But you don't sound like you were aware of the academic performance, or the Rhodes Scholars.
Well, the Rhodes Scholars, truthfully, I did not know until I landed. And again, the reason for that is, again, part of Meadowbrook. I mean, most people they're not braggadocious. So there's a way in which if you know, you know, and if you don't, you're not going to, if you get what I say. So I became aware of the Rhodes Scholars then. And to me, for a school at 65, to have two is a big thing. Because there are schools that are 100, 150, 200 that only have a handful. So that just kind of says we've had some excellent students and excellent teachers to help them do well.
So when you took the job, Mr. Facey, in what year you started?
October 1st, 2019.
Oh, so who you took over the job from? Who was the principal?
Well, the last permanent appointed principal was Michael Peart, but Gillian Heaven was interim for a year and about a month before I came in.
And she's the vice principal, or was the vice principal?
Still is.
Still is. Okay. I wasn't aware of that at all. Yeah. And if you don't mind me asking, this is a question I thought about before I came on interview. I'm not going to put this, and it's not a dismissive comment, but what's the shelf life of a principal? How long they normally stay on the job?
Oh, that's a weird question. And a good question. And the answer is it depends, and I'll tell you why. I think the years of the time of a principal being in the job for 15 years, 10 years are kind of changing because it's very demanding. I'm coming from a school where my principal, because I ended up working at the school that I went to school at, served for 19 years, and he was the longest serving principal in history at that school. But the days of one principal being at that space for 19 years, I think are kind of over. And part of that is, like with any leader, you get to a point where you've tried stuff, you do stuff, and either you want a new challenge or you're tired, or both. I think typically what I see happening is people either taking a break from principalship and going into private sector and coming back, like Dave Myrie, who did that, he's at KC, or people moving from one level of education to another, whether national or internationally. So they might start at a high school, end up working at a community college or a teacher's college, like how I believe Albert Karcher, that used to be at Calabar, is going to be doing. And some people just get tired and just decide they're going to work in the Ministry of Education as education officers or go start farms. So it may, let's say that, to be honest, if things are going well and you feel as if you're making traction, between 4 to 8 years is typically what people will do at one location. If they really love it or they really have things that they see going, they might spend longer, but it's challenging. It's a little bit like the manager for a football team in England. I mean, I don't think you're gonna see another 26 years manager or 15 years manager like with
Alex,
Alex Ferguson and
no,
Wenger.
yeah, I get
I
you.
don't think you see that. Mm-mm. So
No,
it's like that.
I was just going to say the same thing. So it's not just a teaching thing alone, even a job. My mother worked at one place for 40 years. I don't think that will happen again. I think those days are past. So yeah. I was just curious though, Mr. Facey. So when you took the job then, and what ambition, what you had hope, when you came into the school, what you saw that was you think was the most challenging thing when you started the job?
Um, to be honest, the most challenging thing when I started the job was learning the culture, meaning that I wasn't a past student. I did not teach there previously. So as an outsider, I my challenge was learning the culture, learning the history, and being respectful to the traditions of the school, seeing how things were done and why they are done, and then to say, okay, for the things that aren't so great or could be improved, let's see if we can improve that. And there's a way in which when you're an outsider, you kind of have to take that into consideration and to be deliberate in what you do and to be accommodating because you have to hear the stories, sometimes from multiple perspectives, and come to your own conclusions. So that was the most challenging thing I thought at the onset. Learning the culture, respecting the culture, and over time having the persons who have served and continue to serve realize that I value this school and I want the school to do well.
Mm-hmm.
So that type of relationship building was really what I thought about first as the most challenging.
Mm-hmm. And was it extra challenging because of co-ed school?
In a sense, and the reason is having taught at a all-boys school for 21 years before I came to Meadowbrook, and I'm a graduate of an all-boys school. I understand how boys think. Girls now are a little different, and Meadowbrook girls are even more different. So that's been challenging. That's been a learning experience.
Then this place I wanted to get over that when you asked me what you mean by more challenging or more.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, so first and foremost, many Meadowbrook girls know. I can't speak for your days, gentlemen, but they're very forthright, very direct, and if you are not careful, you will think of that directness or forthrightness to mean that they they are what's the word now? Very passionately affected by something that you've said when really and truly is just I've thought this, you're a person, I'm a person, I'll ask it. And there's no malice or a forethought to it. But it's kind of very different from what I'm used to. And then there's also, even within that grouping, people who just kind of feel as if, look, you're going to have to explain yourself as one adult to somebody who's becoming an adult. Don't just tell me and I'll take it. So you better be able to make your point, defend your point, but be respectful in how you do it. So that's been very interesting to learn and navigate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go around the table. I don't want me alone asking all the questions Mr. Facey. I really a discussion, not but a question and answer thing. So, Keith, I'm going to ask you if you have any question or any comment you want to ask Mr. Facey, if you could jump in.
Well, the first comment I'd like to make is probably an indictment on us because when Mr. Facey just spoke on the last topic, it obviously occurred to me that we should have had a female here with us on this panel, you know.
That is true, Keith. We're going to get a bean for that. But yes.
Well, I know I'm gonna be confronted and accused, so it's my intention to just blame Jelly.
Yeah.
When you go home, you might get the kid.
Yes, true. When I go home, you think I'm not home now. You heard something.
No, it's an oversight on my part. I will take the blame, Keith. You're so right. You're so right. Because,
We should.
but go
The
ahead, Keith.
product,
Sorry.
the
Yeah,
product
yeah,
didn't
and
have.
there are more of us, more of them than us, to put it
Yeah,
that
but
way.
but before you ask the question, may I ask Mr. Facey, what's the proportion like? When I was at school, it was 2-for-1. What is it like? No male female population, Mr. Facey.
Weird. Geez, for like grade 7 and 8, there's actually a few more boys than girls. Like if they're if there are 130 boys, there may be 120 girls,
Mm-hmm.
and a similar thing for 8. But when you get to 9, 10, the numbers even off, and then by the time you get to 11, there are a little more girls than boys. So if you're going to be technical, our population is about 1,363, and there are probably about maybe 30 or 40 more, 40 more girls than boys overall.
Oh, I said more even
So
now
it's,
than we used to go then. Yeah.
mm,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's roughly. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead
So,
then, Keith. Sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead,
Yeah.
Mr. Facey. What did you think of the plant of the school, campus, when you came on board, compared to where your school, to where your high school experience has been, both teaching and as a student, the Meadowbrook campus?
um, well, I thought it is a campus that has been used pretty well. There are, in terms of the spacing that they have, I think, I thought, and I still think that there are opportunities for us to expand the classroom space and putting some more rooms, but it will have to take some creativity because do we have about 2 or 3 buildings that technically we could go one floor up, but we'd have to do the relevant work, and there's need for that. Um, I thought, for example, that there were, in terms of sports facilities, or multi-purpose sport would probably need to be, well, not probably, needs to be redone, resurfaced, and probably extended a little bit so that it can be better for basketball and netball and volleyball. I thought the plan that Mr. Peart started for the small field at the school needed to be continued. He had put in irrigation pipes, but they did not complete the installation of the irrigation system. But I thought that was something that we should really do. And when I went down to what others term bottom field and I call Michigan Avenue, the Michigan Avenue facility that I hope one day will be called the Henry Ward facility. I saw, uh, to be frank, potential and a headache all at once. And the reason why it's a potential and a headache is I looked at a school like Campion, who has a field adjacent to them, but for all intents and purposes, it's one campus. But our current setup feels like we have 2 properties that are, though 10 minutes walk apart, are worlds apart in terms of how you have to manage them. And the Michigan Avenue facility has its own challenges. There are people who think it is community property, and I know it's owned by the United Church and managed through Meadowbrook High School. There are people who will tell you that them can do whatever they want in it because it's theirs. There are people who tell you that it's the bad man from Akiwak Place. And we could kind of feel like you're carving out a space when you shouldn't have to when it's yours. But it is a tremendous space that should be and is being developed to make it useful for the students. So we can have more teams going to pens. We can have kids earning points at boys and girls champ. We can have our football teams playing well into November. And Mr. Henry know why I say well into November. And our cricket team having second round, third round, quarterfinal matches. It's a good space, but its management and development will require hands and hearts and some blood, sweat, and tears to bring it to where I think it could be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so these I guess all of these a number of these things that you mentioned there, Mr. Facey, would probably be part of maybe the plan that you have for Meadowbrook. You've been there now, you've been at Meadowbrook, been with us now for 4 years, so I guess you've had the opportunity to sort of put a plan in place. But do you sort of have a plan for maybe the next 5 or 10 years, whatever you think?
And maybe a vision is a better word, Keith. A vision.
I
Sure,
do.
vision.
Both
Yeah.
actually have both. Well, the vision that I have from Meadowbrook really I'm trying to see if I can put it as simple as I can. In listening to the stories of the different persons who have come through Meadowbrook and seeing the kids that we have, I think our identity is that we're a school that provides an opportunity for kids to get exposed to various aspects of culture, get to develop sporting acumen, and also academic discipline and rigor. I don't think that we have to be one over the other. I think we should really provide opportunities for students to get those things by having quality teachers, instructors, and giving them the chance to find what they're good at so that they can let their light shine. So for me, we've always had kids who did sports. We've always had kids who entered things like JCDC or festival. We've always had kids who end up reaching the merit list or top 20 for CXC or CAPE. But what I've noticed as I've listened and looked at the history is that we have peaks and valleys. We have times when we're excellent in a particular sport or a group of sports, and then there's a lull. Times that we're excelling in certain aspects of culture, and then there's a lull. What happens, it seems like, is that we've not found a way to consistently push and support development in all of those phases. I mean, our school has won All Together Sing. We've won many gold medals. We've won international tournaments for softball and baseball and had national persons on those teams. We've produced members of the Reggae Boys like Claude Davis. But what happens is that it's peaks and valleys. It's not consistent enough. And I think the reason is sometimes from what I've heard, the persons who are willing work until them tired, and nobody kind of steps in and continues the work. The ideas aren't shared, and sometimes there are some misunderstandings that have come up, it seems. So for me, I want to see us pushing our kids to try all of these things, pushing them to be excellent in the classroom, be excellent on the stage, be excellent on the fields, be excellent on the court. That is what I want to see happen. I also want to see our kids, in terms of academic, get either CXC or CAPE subjects or technical certification. When you look at how much a good plumber makes as compared to, say, a supervisor in an office, it's shocking. A good plumber could pay a supervisor in the office from his earnings. And there, in my mind, decent work is a serious thing. So I don't care whether you work in grease or work in paper, but we should be able to help you get those skills together before you leave. That would be what I term a vision. What I want to see in probably 3 or 5 years, because I think I have to start with that time frame. I want to see probably 3 things. I want to see the Michigan Avenue facility named the Henry Ward facility. I want to have the pavilion with one section for people to lift weights, another section for you to have possibly camping over a weekend for any one of the teams, being able to provide meals for them, and being able to host visiting team from country. I want to see the football field established and being one of the best services in Kingston. I want to be able to have a walk or running track around the outer skirts of the field so that you could allow for that to happen. I want to be able to have a good cricket pitch in cricket season and managed and have that facility managed by a person who works alongside the school or a team. I want to see lights down there so that we could train longer and have night matches, or that field could become one where you could say to business house teams that want to the business house football, hey, we have this facility where you can use and you can play your game starting at 6 o'clock safely. I want to see where, in terms of academics, I want to see where we put on probably 2 or 3 more audiovisual rooms where we could have lectures from people like, I don't know, captains who have flown Emirates, and they can show us what it looks like. And I want to be able to invite somebody who's working in Qatar to say, okay, I can only join you on Zoom, and there's a class of 40 kids who can relate to him. That's what I want to see. I want to see us maximize the space at this Meadowbrook, manage it better, and really create a platform for kids to excel. That's really what I want to see. Will I see it in 3 or 5 years? I don't know, but that's what I want to see. I have other ideas too, but we'll wait and
no, before you come in, Vivian or Freddie, and you can go first, Vivian. You sound like you have been listening to the podcast, Mr. Facey, because I put and say, I need to say, I don't see no reason why we can have a multi-sports complex on a bottom field. I call it bottom field, Michigan Avenue Complex. So you're talking the same vision I have. That's run and controlled by the school in coordination with a body who I work with the school. It's not a separate thing at all. So we're on the same page. I am on the same page with that. So I like what I hear when I hear you talk about that. I am saying there is no reason why we can't have a income earning facility down a bottom field. I'm going to put it another way. A multi-sports complex. So I am very happy for you say that, Mr. Facey, publicly. I'm happy for you.
I want to tell you one thing more on that, though, Jelly. Mm-hmm. We went as far as we actually worked out what we're calling a position that called a sports administrator. And that person's job would be to work alongside the head of the PE department and I to manage the Michigan Avenue fields and the fields at school and to help support all of the sport teams. We work out a job description for the person. We've even approached one person that we felt would have been a good fit, and regrettably, he was not able to take it on. So I'm just telling you how far down the pitch we are with this idea.
No, I will not go make a run past the ball as I say in a cricket. I am there with you, no worry. I know you never play cricket, so you would not understand that analogy.
No, I get it though. I get it. My dad was a West Indies fan. I get it.
No, I have the same vision like you, Mr. Facey. I didn't know, because I never met you before today. I know the people talk about you, and I have been talking about it, and I say, I can't say why. I'm saying if other school can do it, there's no reason why we can't do it. That's all I'm going to say about that. So, I mean, a lot of the discussion will have to take place behind the paywall, as I said, Mr. Facey, because, so, when I come to Jamaica next month, I will try to find the time, and me and Keith and probably Vivian will come and sit down and talk to you in terms of, say, the next step forward with that. That's in terms of what can be done and what need to put in place.
No problem. Looking forward to it.
No, and yes, as I say, I am not here. I just start this. Full disclosure, I'm not interested in running nothing or taking over nothing at all. I just try to put together people interested to make Meadowbrook a 21st century school. You understand what I'm saying to you? This is not all I want, Mr. Facey, is what I do right, you know. It's come run off my mouth and talk on a podcast and have good conversation. And I just want to make that clear. Because people might think, say, oh, Jelly, I push up himself and I come run off him mouth like he want to take. I don't want to take over nothing. You understand? I just want to facilitate people to come forward and come give for Meadowbrook. That's my view. I have to declare that, Mr. Facey, early and up front. I don't want anybody to have no wrong impression, say.
No problem. I'm with you.
Yeah. Vivian, sorry, go ahead. I see you wanted to say something from Mr. Facey mentioned the United Arab Emirates. I mean, what's throwing word at you, but you go ahead.
I thank you for that, Lance. Mr. Facey, Keith and I sat down to discuss a lot of what we are hearing on the program today. And what we wanted to do is to use this medium to reach the wider Meadowbrook community, just to apprise them of some of the things that we have been discussing, because we are going to need their support. We are going to need the support of every Meadowbrookian who hears this podcast. What we want to do is to discuss the mechanics, of how we are going to sort of harness this support and how we are going to be accountable in the way that we use the support. So what I would like Mr. Facey to tell the audience is basically how the government subvention for sports and for sports management in the school, how it's done at present, what are the deficiencies, and what we need to be able to effectively compete in sports in Jamaica today. And then we will look at our ideas for funding and how we are going to be accountable. If I might just sort of introduce the topic a bit more, what Mr. Facey pointed out is that the government sponsors 2 sports masters, I think, for the school, and these people have to teach classes as well. And so the position that we discuss of sports administrator and specialized courses will have to be funded privately by the school. And it's a very competitive business. The coaches that are out there are being scouted by other schools. So basically, the wages is very competitive because schools are bidding against each other for the coaching talent. So we have got a lot of potential among our students, but we have to have the means to sort of attract quality coaches in order to get the results that we are seeking. So the idea that we roughed out was a way of having Meadowbrookians contribute to this in accordance with their abilities. And what we thought we would do is to make sure that the school's website has some sort of a program where we can make our contribution online. We can see what the funds are at all times, and we can see what deductions are made from the funds and what it is used for. This is in real time. So persons who are dispersed around the world in different time zones and in different countries would not have to gather for meetings, because in real time you'll be able to see the state of the account. So this was some of the sort of ideas that we had. So having set the tone now, I'm going to just ask Mr. Facey if he could, and Keith, if they could elaborate so that everybody will get a better understanding of what we discussed.
Agreed. Thank you for that, Sir Thomas. I really appreciate that. Okay, so currently our website, our school website, is being redeveloped. It was set up by a group of alumni, I think mainly from Canada, and over time we were not able to manage it, so it is down. We are working to relaunch it and revamp it, and a part of the functionality of the website will be the ability to donate to the school. We, even without that happening now, any donations that we get that are transferred to us, our practice continues to be one of doing a receipt and sending back a copy of the receipt to the donor so that they can see that the funds have been received. In many instances as well, when donors give us instruction about how it is to be handled, we provide evidence for that. If it's as simple as a picture to say this was what we bought, or the bills, or even to give a report, especially if they're supporting a team, so they can know what was done. Because we believe in ensuring that if people see that their funds get to where it's supposed to, it would give them more confidence to continue to support us and to invite their friends. And also, we are not particular. We're not the people that say if you do have $100 million endowment, we don't need it. If you want to give $5, $10, I'm okay with that, and we will treat it as if it is 500,000. Don't matter. And the issue is the principle at hand is that any funds generated and donated to the school will be accounted for, and you have a right to ask for feedback on its use because it is your donation. So I have to say that from the start. I want to go back a little bit to something that Mr. Thomas said earlier, and it's this. Government, as a part of its funding for school, allows us to use some of the money for sports. And recently it got as much as I think was it 10% of the total budget. But that 10% is really what you use to do things like buy the balls for netball, for volleyball, buy the equipment you use in PE class. It's also what you should use to help support getting football boots, sneakers, uniforms for matches. It's what we use to prepare all of the fields for matches. It's what we use to even help fund lunch day food or match day food. So it's a drop in a very big bucket, but we're grateful for the drop. For anybody from Ministry of Education who's listening, we're grateful, but it is a drop in a very big bucket. This year, we decided to do a costing on sports at Meadowbrook, and we're a moderate school. We only did this year 6 major sports over 2.5 terms. And our costings really would have covered things like food, transport, salaries for coaches. And for those 6 sports, boys and girls, it was 26 million Jamaican dollars. The money that the Ministry of Education gives is not even, if I think about it, is not even fully, maybe nice, 15% of that. And that's over the term, and it's given once per term as a part of a tranche. So we have to be using the parent support contribution, which is now voluntary, to help with running sports. We have to be asking our very kind donors, some of whom are past students, some of whom are not, to support in cash or kind and time, and they have done that. But $26 million is a rough thing, and our program is not anywhere the size of KC, JC, Edwin Allen. So I'm just telling you just to cover the basics. It's $26 million. And curiously enough, football, because it's under 14, under 16, under 19, and girls football this year, is probably going to take 12 million of that. No, 12 million of that 26. So that means that netball, volleyball, cricket, what am I missing? Cricket, netball, volleyball, athletics, and are going to have to share the rest of that. And the truth is, it's a whole lot. So that is the situation we're at. Mr. Thomas is also right in saying that we actually have PE teachers that are on the payroll that are paid by government, and many of them are actually part-time coaches. We have really 3 PE teachers, but one of the PE teachers actually teaches other subjects too. So it's really 2.5, but it's 3 that we have. And those persons can't coach all of our sports, but they do good work in netball and football where they're trained. So we actually have to have outside coaches that we have to pay. Government doesn't pay them. We have to pay them from the parent support contribution. And when we looked at our costings this year, it was shocking. And I'll tell you what I mean. Every time when you have to feed the Manning Cup team or the Colts team or the cricket team a meal before they go and play, that's $20,000. So if they're playing in the first one for Manning Cup, 10 matches, 5 home, 5 away, that's $200,000. That's food. That is not even saying that you're doing breakfast and lunch, that's just lunch. That's not like you're saying you're doing porridge on Saturday. You have some teams that in schoolboy football that actually get breakfast, get lunch, and get supplements. It is expensive to really provide the support that we'd like to. But we will continue to try our best for the kids. So it's really that type of circumstance.
Yeah. I have a question.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Vivian. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mr. Facey. So, as our listenership will see, Meadowbrook is as usual persevering. We have dedicated staff, we have talented students, but the dynamics around how we fund sports, schoolboy sports, schools, well, high school sports in Jamaica has changed, you know, and it now requires a lot of cash and professional expertise. So what we were proposing is that on the school's website we have detailed reports of the different sports programs. What we
We
are
can.
trying to do is to allow the population, the Meadowbrookians around the world, to at a glance access any information that they will need about the various programs that we are asking them to contribute to. So the information will be posted online in such a way that there will not be any need to have general meetings to bring people up to date. We hope to have up to date, accurate information online, and we have the ability that people can spontaneously make contributions. The modern way to utilize IT, you know, is what I call, I guess, crowdfunding, which is the model that we are looking to implement. So we are hoping that from this program, persons listening will understand the challenges that we face and the proposals that we are putting forward, so that when the infrastructure is in place, everybody will be of a frame of mind to participate in order to support the programs that we have in mind. And as I said, accountability. We hope to have a board of management appointed by the school, I guess, in conjunction with the PTA, and every withdrawal from the different funds will be posted online so that people can see, you know, when the withdrawal was done and what the monies were used for. That is the general vision of how the thing is to be financed, according to what was explained to me by Mr. Facey. So I will yield the floor to you now, Lance. Thanks.
Accountability and transparency, I hear you. I have a devil's advocate question for you, Mr. Facey, and for Keith and Vivian. But Freddie, I want you to chime in, and if any question you have for Mr. Facey will come up while you're listening, I want you to go ahead.
Yeah, I'm listening keenly, you know, because a lot of things that have been said are things that I have thought about. But one of the problem is, as Mr. Facey mentioned earlier, is the culture of the Meadowbrook. I don't know how Mr. Facey can deal with the Meadowbrook culture, because I know where Mr. Facey is coming from. It's a far different culture and system down there. So I want to know how Mr. Facey is now adjusting to the Meadowbrook culture and what is going out there from him and his staff. Because I am kind of spoiled by the JC connection, because I spent 7 years at JC. And I can tell you, the difference in culture and the commitment of the past student of JC and Meadowbrook is like day and night, chalk and cheese. You know, because he went to JC, and when I went to JC did win Monaco for 33 years or more. And I just suggest some things that I brought from Meadowbrook ideas that I learned from Zahir. And I introduced it to a panel of GC teachers, past students, and some two females, Mrs. Cunningham and Mrs. Another lady, O'Sullivan, two former parents. And they grab onto the Meadowbrook ideas, and that is what now afford GC what I would call probably the best high school stadium in the entire Caribbean, because of what I suggested in a meeting with recall to form a sport action committee, it was called at the beginning. And through this sport action committee, all sports at GSA are funded, nothing from the ministry or anything like that. All past students just keep donating things. I can give one example. When I went to GST, they paid me a very good salary. And until this day, I was told recently that I am still the highest paid coach in Manico football ever, ever. And I was told that since last week by a GC, person on GST school board, that I am still the highest paid football coach ever. And it's not like JC wasn't having good football teams. But the way they set up the things, and when they see things that they can jump on, they jump on it. At Meadowbrook, people jump on, they jump off. If something not going their way, they jump off. Jump on when it's going their way. There's no consistency in how we do things at Meadowbrook, and that is the problem. For example, our Manning Cup coach presently, as a matter of fact, we have two of the best coaches in Jamaica right now because Alicia is a national coach. All right, a past student. And she's coaching a national youth team right now. And we have a staff people, like for example, we have some past students who said they would form a committee. And because they are not able to jump in and tell the coaches what to do, what not to do, they jump off. So I can tell you, they jump off. Because I'm there with them, you know. And there are people who I used to teach and coach. And this is the problem about Meadowbrook. I spoke to Herbert McDonald recently, and I told him some of the things that I would like to see implemented at Meadowbrook. And he listened to me very attentively. And at the end, he said to me, Hitchcock, you think the administration would buy into it? And Herbie is somebody who all of you might know except for Mr. Facey. He was my first cricket captain at Meadowbrook. And he don't want to get, not say he don't want to get involved, but he's afraid of the inconsistency. We'll put it, old time people would say it through powder palm blackbird. So you kind of come off. But it does this kind of thing. And it kind of frustrates me to the point where at some time, at some point I feel like giving up. Because I'm telling you the honest truth. I went to Meadowbrook for 3 years, and I don't think anybody loved Meadowbrook like me. I tell you the truth. I made that you know that. It's always Meadowbrook. I win Manning Cup at JC. And the first thing came to my mind, I can remember standing on the cycle track after the game. And the first thing came to my mind, I said, couldn't this be Meadowbrook? I'm winning Manning Cup for a rival school. It hurts. I'm telling that. But we need people who are committed. We need people who. Jelly can tell you when I captained Meadowbrook cricket team in 1980. I don't play to lose. I lose against KC in the semi-final, and I didn't eat for a week. I couldn't eat. And the KC team that beat us was probably the best schoolboy cricket team ever.
Yeah, that's strong. Yeah.
And I was so hurt. I want to see this kind of commitment from the Meadowbrook people out there. And people keep telling me that Meadowbrook is not a sports school. It's not sports only. I came to Meadowbrook in fourth form. I was a transfer student from another school because of football. And I came there and I did all I could in 3 years. And I came back and I was on the staff teaching 4 subjects.
And let me say something to that, Freddie. And this is my devil's advocate question, Mr. Facey, and Keith and Vivian. For all I know. I'm a female natty. I'm going to ask a female question. Right? And I just asking the question for devil's advocate because I want to hear your answer, Mr. Facey. I like your vision. I love the vision. And I think what has been missing, Freddie, I hear your concern, is the big picture. The big vision I hear Mr. Facey talk about tonight, and I say, the 3, 5, 10-year vision for Meadowbrook. But here's my devil's advocate question. Why is it? Why we have to focus on sports so much? I can't hear the females them say, what is about sports? Why we have to focus on sports so much? Why not something else? Why not academics?
That's a great question. And the answer is this. There's more than one thing that you have to do in education. It's not a one objective type experience. You want to be able to develop people's ability to think. You want to be able to develop their ability to engage in sports. You want to develop their attitudes and their skills. And there are some things that, some lessons of life that you will learn in a classroom, but some you're going to only learn on a field of play, whether it's in PE or representing your school or your nation. And there are some things that you're only going to learn on a stage. So there's a way in which, for me, I'm not saying sports to the exclusion of the arts or academics, but I'm saying why we have to choose. Why can't we provide opportunities in each of those spheres, doing the best that we can for people to come in and shine? In my mind, and I'm glad Mr. Henry kind of put it that way, we have this idea of a sportsman or a sportswoman is not very intelligent and can't use well, what we used to say the Queen's English, but I guess now it's the King's English, and they can't think and articulate their ideas well. But that is complete foolishness. When you see how someone organizes a football team on a match day and figures out how the opposing team is working and not only recognize the strategy, but figure out a way to counter that strategy effectively, and they're doing it while actively playing, that's intelligence, that's problem solving, that's team building, that's motivating people, that's persevering. All of those are life skills that show up in the world of work. So for me, developing sports is one of the things that we should do, but it's not the only thing. It's just that we're talking mostly about sports. What I would want to see, we continue to excel in arts. I want to see us academically excel too. But I think that sports is a viable option to develop confidence, to provide opportunities for people that they could not get otherwise, and to enable them to learn skills for life. So that's how I see it. I don't think of it as that you couldn't learn to go play sports. No.
No,
I don't see it that way.
that's what Mr. Facey I have an answer for you today, but I want to hear what Keith say. Keith, when you go home tonight now and your wife asks you, what you talk about sports, what you going to tell her, say?
Well, there are two things I want to say. Just directly to answer your question, I'm the wrong example. Yeah, I'm the wrong example because, I mean, for those persons who went to Meadowbrook while my wife was there, from she entered the school in about second form or first form, she has been playing netball for Meadowbrook up until when she left.
She's a sports person in the family then. Sorry, okay.
She has reminded me that every year from she started at sports day, right? She won the high jump. You know, I have produced documents to show her that although she won these things, I actually gained more points than her. But that's a family problem.
Well, she need to come and tell her story here, Keith. That's all I can say because it not for the she need to come and tell the story. But go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, man. She by the way, that was Rothney, and she occupied the post of I think they used to have like a sports captain in the house.
Yeah.
And she occupied that post from fourth form all the way up to
upper
to
six.
when when she left school. So I'm probably a bad example. And what I just said applies not just to her, but to the four sisters that she had who attended Meadowbrook as well. Yeah, so it's probably a bad example. But what I did want to say is, and wanted to sort of bring out, is sports is probably just the biggest extracurricular activity that you'll find at the school. But the extracurricular activities that that Meadowbrook has offered over the years and continues to offer and needs to keep offering are very, very important for developing a rounded person and a rounded student. We have the cadet corps, and our cadet corps actually is I do believe the first cadet corps that had females We
Yes,
had
it
a
is.
very vibrant drum
Yeah.
corps as part of our
Mhm.
cadet corps. We used to provide great assistance for like Calabar's unit, etc. Meadowbrook was like a forerunner, one of the leading cadet corps. And I know that great work is being done in the school now by the OIC, well, in charge of the cadet corps.
Yeah, Harrison
And
Johnson.
yes, yeah, Miss Johnson, thank you very much. Right? I'd like those persons who may look at me and figure that despite what Jelly is saying about sports and whatever, right? One of the proudest awards that I remember getting from while I was at high school was Best Actor while at the Inter-Schools Drama Festival.
What?
Yes, I'm a thespian, yeah, man. This, yes.
Man
My
for all
sister, my
seasons.
younger sister, who also went to Meadowbrook, was very, very active in drama and still is, and in writing and that sort of thing, etc., etc. So when she gets a little bit uppity at family gatherings, I just remind her that she's following in my footsteps. And I also debated, and the school challenge quiz, I do know that the past students contribute to the preparation
Yes,
of
they do.
the school challenge team. So it is not just sports. And for those persons who hope, to take up a scholarship, be it academic, sports, or whatever, or even just to enter into the prestigious universities that Meadowbrook students go to. Right?
Mhm.
The admission boards are looking for students who are rounded, students
Yep.
who participate in, other than academics, participate in community work, in the various things. Sure, Mr. Facey knows much, much more about that stuff than I do. So that is my answer in part. The other part is we are about raising funds for the school. It is so much easier to raise funds for the school when the school has a vibrant sports program. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not for me to decide whether it is right or wrong, but Mr. Facey heard about our prowess in sports, but it's sort of missed that we are missed him in terms of our Road Scholars. And also that one year we were there on the front page of the Gleaner as the
Top
best high school
performing. Yeah.
in Jamaica,
Yep.
based upon the improvement
You're the best improved
that
school.
the improvement that our students realized
From
over the
grade 7 to
period of
11.
time that they were there.
It was a very
You know,
special
Value
award,
added.
Keith. I read the report. I got it and posted it. Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I just say,
Yeah.
but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So that really, maybe rambled a bit, but that really is the answer to the question that you asked, Jelly.
No, man. I know why I asked it, when Keith, and I want your take on it, Vivian, because I know I'm going to hear it back. I said, why them just talk about sports? And Vivian, I want you to take it out. I have an answer for you too, It's a simple answer. But go ahead, Vivian.
But I think through sports, we can exemplify the highest sort of ideals for which the school stands. It encourages cooperation, it encourages fairness, and it encourages respect for each other, and it teaches people to be magnanimous in victory and gracious when they are defeated, and all the good things that we teach our children at home can be exemplified through sports. So I think sports and academics go hand in hand. And of course, there's the benefit also of the physical fitness that is associated with sports. They say that mental robustness stems from physical fitness. If a person is physically fit, they will be mentally robust. So there's a certain synergy between sports and academic performance. I don't think any youngster will will be at a disadvantage for excelling in sports at school.
I agree. And this is my take on it, Mr. Facey. As I say, that devil's advocate question. The best ROI we'll get for money and with time is the sports. The college them here that make good money apart from the big time one them is the sports run the school in terms of say and do other things for the school. And more importantly for me, sports give you the best feedback ever you'll get right away. And instant. We also have to take an exam to get feedback. In other things, our academics, sports you getting the feedback as you play. And that is the part I like about it. It's like you get instantaneous feedback from your own teammates, from your opposing team. They constantly improve, and that's what life is about all along. It's how you're going to improve as you go. So, and I like what you say, Keith. If we're raising fund, this is the best bang for a buck we can ever do. Is have a vision, and I say, well, Bill, I like the name, Mr. Facey, Henry Ward Complex on a bottom field. A multi-sports complex. Let me start repeat it that way there and talk it into existence because it can be done and there's no reason why. And people can look on and say them contribute to it. You can say, Mr. Facey, you started a vision where, yes, a big... because my view is, if something don't done to bottom field, we're going to lose it.
Well, I'm with you. I think I want to kind of touch back on something that Mr. Henry kind of was talking about, and it's really this. There's a way in which I think we have to have our vision bigger than what it is now. And here's what I mean. Meadowbrook should outlast each and every one of us on this forum right now.
I agree, Mr. Facey.
And if it's gonna outlast us, then it means we have to get out of our own way.
Mm-hmm.
We have to think about the fact that some of the things that we may need to do may never be recognized, we may not be lauded for, but was it in service to the young men and young women to come after us? And if the answer is yes, then still do it. I understand that we're humans and not feeling as if you're appreciated, feeling tired and feeling hurt or slighted is a real thing. But there's a way in which I think one of the things that we are in danger of losing entirely as a society right now is the idea of service to others, even unheralded service. And I think to really drive our schools forwards, we kind of have to think, if even no one recognizes my contribution, what can I see to say, well, it was useful? Can I see a life impacted positively and know that I was involved, and would that be sufficient? Or do I need to have to be lauded by my peers? Do I need to have my face in a newspaper or part of a video for me to work? Mm-hmm. That's how I'm feeling about it. And there's a way in which I think we also need to be systematic to record what we're doing so that someone else can come alongside and figure out where can they fit in. The idea of making a school grow is one where you're going to need many hands, many hearts working together. And some people are going to only be able to do certain things for a certain time, and that's okay. Do your service and let that speak for you. But I think we have to be thinking beyond ourselves, making our contributions for the good of the kids who come before, and remember the people who invested in us. And some of them we probably even don't even remember. Some of them we cannot forget. So it's that type of thinking that we need to have. And I think if we have that change in thinking, then I think we're starting to make it possible to start to have the school change in the way that we want it to change.
I'm going to put it that way, Mr. Facey. I'm going to put it this way to you, to all honor to you tonight. In 2058, Meadowbrook will be 100. Most of us probably won't be around. But what is the vision for Meadowbrook at 100?
Ooh. Aye.
It's not far off, and it's 35 years away.
It's
not far off. But if we can put in the community, and I have a question for you that relates to that, Mr. Facey, and maybe you can find this out for me. Because I was thinking about this. From the other day, I was thinking about this, and I say, how many students you think have passed through Meadowbrook High School in the 65 years.
Jeez. That one is a little tricky because the first class was mostly like 20 odd picnic, and now we're having kids leaving like 230 from fifth form, 30 or
So
50 from sixth form.
So you think you could have find a match wizard to work out a formula, forget. A rough estimate, is it between...
I think we can.
Yeah, man.
I think you can.
Because I want to figure that for you, and I say, when I'm talking, and I say, yeah, Meadowbrook, 10, 15,000 students have passed through Meadowbrook.
All right.
And
Let's rough it out. Let me rough it out for you. Rough it out to say, on average, 150.
over,
On average, 150. Leaving, graduating.
yeah,
From 60, from 50
50
over the
years.
last, yeah, over the last thing the years. No, you can't use 50 because then just
Started,
so let's
right.
say 60 years. So 60 years.
Yeah,
60 years, 150 would give us what now?
50
The
times.
one that
Right.
first number. 90,000. That's what-
About 9,000.
Yeah.
No, 9,000, yeah.
And that,
And that's just roughing it out.
so I can round it up and say at least, not at least, about
When-
10,000 students have passed through
Yeah, man.
Meadowbrook.
That is fair. I think it's fair to say we've exceeded 10,000.
And what I want to say with that, we are in a lucky spot at Meadowbrook, because I think most of those 10,000 still around. Some of us
It's true.
have passed on. Very few other school can say we can reach out to the 10,000 people who used to pass through. We pass through Meadowbrook and say, yeah, what is the vision now for Meadowbrook at 100? And we're going to go. As a matter of fact, Mr. Facey, the idea, forget the numbers, is to say if we can get a database of that 10,000 where exists. The most of them are still alive. That's why I put the figure to you. Have a constant database to all of the people who pass through Meadowbrook in the 65 years.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
is my vision. That's how I see it. That's why I ask the question. So
Oh man, that's fair, and that would be lovely.
yeah, man.
That would be lovely.
Yeah. So I
Appreciate that.
have another question for you, Mr. Facey, because I like your vision. I'm on board with the vision because I think we need for big vision and we drive big in terms that say we motivate what Alfred says missing at Meadowbrook, or the culture. Because it's hard to tell people, say, boy, if I contribute to the school, I ask them what I contribute for. But if you know, say, I contribute towards what they going to look like at 100 years, and towards a multi-sports complex, we shouldn't have no problem I get the money. The money won't be the issue at all. If you know what we are build and what we are trying to do, accountable and transparent, as Vivian said, it shouldn't be no problem at all. You see what I'm saying? So if you reach out to people constantly, say, boy, this is the project what we have, and then if we do it in a certain way, big private sector company, both in Jamaica and overseas, will want to contribute to our project. So I don't think funding will be a problem, That's how I see it. You see what I'm saying? But we have
I do.
eh?
I do. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, funding would not be a problem, Mr. Faith. It's like, once it's properly structured, and all of the details, as I said, that's not for me for work out. Me just talk about the big vision.
Yeah.
Big vision, and I said, the accountability and transparency is a must. And the
Definitely.
structure we're going to put in place to make sure both the school is protected, and in a sense, the people who invest their money know so them can see where their money are go. As Vivian talk about. Them can see it on an ongoing basis. And I got proud to contribute and see their money. And
My fear no, Jelly.
yeah.
My fear is, as I said, the consistency with this whole thing, with people up and off and happening, on and up and off. Is when the tide high, them ride it, and when it go down, people just drop off and don't see them disappear.
Yep.
And we might start a program, not saying only sports, but something might be started at the school, and it going good, and we plan to improve it and so on, and right away, people jump off, and the thing flop.
But let me challenge you, Fred. Let me challenge you. So why that never happened at JC? It never happened before you went there. Because until you go there, the culture that changed. What changed the culture when you went there?
Lad, can I say something?
Yeah, hold on, Fred. Let me repeat what I say.
Yeah, go ahead, Vivian.
Yeah, what we are saying, Freddie, we want to set up a system where we can attract funding. We will know how much we have, and we will know what to plan with, you know. And this is a system that we have never used before at Meadowbrook, where we hope to take advantage of technology to keep people informed of what is happening. And it's voluntary. We are not saying how much you are to contribute. There are times when we may have to make appeals for specific things or for specific projects, but it is hoped, you know, that anybody, any Meadowbrook anywhere in the world, will be able to go online and see what the balance in the account is, see what appeals we have, and contribute accordingly, you know. So we can't say that we're going to have, you know, any one individual consistently committed, but we think as a group, we will be able to support each other where we can and to maintain some consistency. And it will be up to the board now, who is drawing down on the funds to use it in accordance with what is there and with what they plan. So we hope to have a more organized and transparent system that we hope will in itself engender support, you know. And as I said, it's not going to be a thing of talking and meetings. We hope that the information will be readily available, up to date, and all times available for scrutiny on the website of the school.
And I'm going to repeat this.
I realize, Bulangeli.
Yeah.
I realize that Vivian understands exactly where I am going. And I also understand what Vivian is saying. But as I say, you know, it's like it's the same people, for one, and Vivian mentioned that. But as I said, I might be spoiled by what happened at JC. But you don't see that kind of flow from the Meadowbrook people. They're having fundraising in, for example, New York chapter. I was a part of the New York chapter. And I have to quit. I have to walk away from it. Because the fact that people only come on when when it's sweet. Put it that way. You know what I mean? They just want to come and get some sweets and them, so them a part of this. And some people making contribution because they want the name to be on billboard. Some people, you know, because I can remember somebody donated when 2001. I went back and I coached the Money Cup team. And there was part of an individual who donated a few cones, some balls, and all of that. And Mrs. Lowe, let me say, she forgot to send him a thank you letter and all of that. And him attacked me. So, oh, come, can send him things, come Meadowbrook and send and give it to me and things. So, I simply just ask him, what you want us to put a billboard up by the boulevard with your name on it?
Well, Vivian, me address that, Freddie. Me address that. I mean, I'll address it from a personal standpoint. When I started this podcast, right, it was just to talk about the cricket and the football and them. I'm going to say that over and over, right? And I keep doing it every week because I enjoyed it. I was inspired to do it. It's like a call and me get Mr. Facey, believe it or not. You see what I said to you? And all I hope say, if she inspire, then a conversation to inspire, I'm not going to use back the number Mr. Facey. A percentage of the 10,000 who want to be inspired to come and give. Many are calling, but not everybody going to answer the call,
Yep.
You follow what I'm saying to you, Freddie? So I understand what you're saying, but I don't want to pay attention to the people. And I didn't want to bring them up at all. Sorry, Freddie. I don't want to diss somebody. I just want to focus on the people more out there who want to give. Like myself, who just come back and just society. I'm inspired to give. Me just hope my mouth can inspire people. And I say, yeah, man, what do this for the school? Find your friend and come get wherever you can get this week. And the transparency and the openness and the accountability. And you know, so we have a big vision we have to give for. It's not about say.
Jerry, if you love the school, you know, the way, I don't know, maybe it's me, because I love the school so much. If you want to give something, you have to give Meadowbrook something when you can take a picture and show.
No, me understand, Freddie, me understand you, but me I say, me don't want to focus on that, man. I understand what you're saying, Freddie. I don't want to focus on that at all. If I was focused on that, I wouldn't be doing this. You follow what I'm saying to you? I just come and just start talk, and if you don't want to listen, listen. I just enjoy it because I love the Meadowbrook story, the man I talk about the Meadowbrook story. I mean, I say, I can't me alone say that. Well, if people out there want to come give back to the school in their own way. You follow me? I said without even a fanfare. For saying,
Yeah, but
Let me, can
can
I
I
jump
say,
in?
can I say, gentlemen, that nothing is really wrong with that, right? We are dealing with 10,000 people,
exactly.
diverse personalities, diverse backgrounds. Everybody is not going to have the same attitude to giving. We may all want the same results. We may be committed to the same cause, but we have different personalities. And those of us who are responsible for taking the donations, managing the whole thing, we have to understand, that we are going to have different reactions from our colleagues and our friends, and we just have to develop an attitude to value each person, regardless of their disposition, and people will evolve and change and learn from each other. Someone who may wish to be highlighted as time go by, they may change. Others who were more subdued may want to be more prominent because different things are happening in their life. It varies. So let us hope that we can have an attitude to accept all people where they are.
And
May I just,
I like the fact
may I
that you
just
use the
jump in?
10,000, Vivian. Thank you. We're going to start using it. Sorry, go ahead, Mr.
May I just
Facey.
jump in? I'll say it this way. There is space for everyone at Meadowbrook as far as I see it. And I'm gonna just quickly just put two things to it. Two instances to support that. When about a year and a half in, I was at work and someone came to my office, just knocked, and my secretary told me that they want to speak to me, and I said, "All right, no problem, I'll take some time." And we spoke, and the lady said to me after speaking for about 5 minutes, she has just some small items to contribute. Would that be okay? Would I have a problem with that? And I said, no problem, miss. And she gave me, I think at the time, probably a tablet and something else, 2 tablets for 2 students, because it was just at the start of COVID. I said, thank you, miss. She told me which year she was a part of, and that was it. About 2 weeks later, I messaged her to say, well, thanks, right? And we gave the tablets to the kids, 2 kids, and they appreciated it. No problem. A year later, this lady comes back with a friend who was also from Meadowbrook, and they would have brought this time more tablets because we're still in COVID. And it was really just because she was trying to see how she would be received, because I don't know her, she don't know me, and she just wanted to know that her gifts would have been received and they would have been passed on. And because they were passed on, she felt comfortable to give more. There's that lady. I recognize that people are motivated by different things, and some people may want that accolade, not so much because it's just praise, but really to maybe they're acting on behalf of another group of persons, and they need to show to that group of persons that their contribution was handed over properly. There is space for everybody at Meadowbrook. Whether you have one cocoa for the basket, you have the basket, or you have a truck and the basket, there is space and there is need and there is room. You are welcome to come. Once you have a sense of what your terms are, we will work with you, because ultimately, what I want when Meadowbrook becomes 100 is that kids would have said they were cared for by past students and staff. That's you asked earlier, Jelly, what I'd want to say from Meadowbrook at 100. I would want to hear a multitude of students from different generations saying they felt that people tried to care for them and support them. That's what I would want. Everything else, whether nice buildings, nice fields, that's great. But if that's even there and you don't feel cared for, you don't feel seen, you don't feel encouraged, what are we doing?
Yeah. I just talk about that, Mr. Facey. I have I get the big picture, and I'm all for the big picture because that is what I got drive the motivation and thing. But I've also spoken about other things, and everything I talk about Mr. Facey is other student bring it up to me, past student. And she said she was in Jamaica last year, and she took Corona. I that little girl or little boy, and mentor him, like just came around for the day. Right? And my idea is, this is how I look on it, properly vetted and everything again, is to have like a mentorship program where a man can go in our website of Vivian talk about him, register at the school, properly vet him, a man or a woman, him send a money to him friend at Jamaica and say, go take that student to lunch for me today. Not maybe more than one or two past student a pass through. And just go sit down and attend.
That's going on already?
Well, it needs to be broadcast more, Mr. Facey.
Ah.
It needs to be known that if a man want to contribute and do that, it just come and do that. You follow what I'm saying to you? This a website needs to set up. So yeah. If I take it. Yeah, go ahead, Keith.
No, I was just supporting what Mr. Facey said. I was saying that it happens.
Yeah, but it's the consistency again and the in a sense what we talk about on the start is like that's why I asked Mr. Facey the question now. What if you had known about the Rhodes Scholars and the sporting acumen at the school before? And it's like
you see.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to verbalize a program that that I see work at another high school. And I can name the high school. At St. George's College. My younger brother attended it, and it could be the 20th year, the year wrong, but the 20th year after your class graduates from St. George's College, there's a class reunion, right? And it lasts about a week, and the usual type of reunion is party, trip. One day they have some project at the school, and the school shows them around, and I think they're invited to like an assembly or something like that. But that happens in your 20th year after you graduate, yeah? And they usually make a contribution to the school. And coming out of that, of that class, now, this happens every year. You understand what that means? This happens every year. Because, of course, every year, there's a class that's a 20th anniversary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It is a very, very good program for generating action among past students, and I guess you can sit down and work out how many years it would really would be ideal. Maybe 20 years isn't ideal, maybe 15, I don't know. But that is something which I really would like to see happen at Meadowbrook,
Yeah. However I would do it, Keith, I'd like to see it done. I'm back to one of the words Mr. Facey said earlier. Hitchcock talked about it too, the consistency.
Yeah, every year.
The consistency have to be there. And that's why I want it more grassroots than what you suggest, Keith. It's almost like either like a past student, a pass through the school, if it's possible. If it's set up in a certain way. It may not be possible. Maybe me just I visualize it's too big or too small. Every day, a past student, I go to the school and I'm make a report back and I say, boy, I'm take a little boy or a little girl for the lunch. And I'm talk to them. And it's an interaction. Maybe it's not possible, Maybe it's not possible when I visualize it, I am just saying, it's just, and so that student at the school where I say a past student come in, it's in a free manner when him graduate, him know, say, it's almost like it's part of the course system. I'll go back and do that at the school. If it's set up as a system, Mr. Facey, and become part of the curriculum, like a man can log on a website and say, let me go Jamaica for 2 weeks, let me spend 1 day, go carry somebody go lunch. And I'm not going to Jamaica this year, let me send some money to my friend at Jamaica, and him carry a youth, go buy a lunch at the school. Him not take him off of the campus. Him not take, that's the vision me have. And not for crowd up the school in a way, 3 and 4 said that.
No, I understand. No, I understand what you mean. I get what you mean fully. And the truth is there is space for stuff like that. And you're right. It is ideas like that where you can have people engage with the school, and once they engage with the school, they may have our hope is that they'll have repeat engagement. But yeah, your idea is achievable. It's just there's a way in which the missing element would be you want some point persons where you can say, if that is what you want to do, link or contact X, Y, and
Yeah,
Z,
man,
give
yeah.
notice, and we can work it out.
Yeah, man,
Because there's
it have to be a system, Mr. Face. It can't be ad hoc. I agree. That's the whole point about it. It's almost like somebody doesn't charge for do that and say, this is the person you contact, or this is the website where you contact, and the person coordinate it, or persons, and it can change. That person can change, you know?
yeah,
That's the idea, man. That's how minute more want to take it. That's how me I look upon it. And that is something where that is a low hanging fruit, as them would have said. That's something I can it just take a little logistic for put in place, Mr. Facey.
no man, I'm fully with you. And that's something that we can look at. But when I said gentlemen, and for the ladies who will be listening to this podcast, that there is room and space for you to come back and re-engage with me. It's things that I mean.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
If you whatever way you can support and you're willing to support, whether it's time, whether it's funds, whether it is goods, make your way to our school and we'll accept it and route it to who are deserving. One of the things that I've come to greatly treasure in being a part of Meadowbrook is that there are persons who are deeply committed to the good of the school and the welfare of the kids. And it's not now them do it. And many of them will do it quietly because they want to pass on the good experience that they've had in another person's life. And it's that type of family ownership and that type of family action that I think makes Meadowbrook distinctive. And that's what I want more people to experience and know. I mean, there are kids who have come into Meadowbrook and gone through 5 years, 7 years, and after the first year, they got a scholarship. Somebody paid for their shoes, somebody paid for books, somebody paid for trips. And many times they don't even know who did it. And it's not one or two kids that has happened to. It's that type of family care that I think makes us distinctive, and we must encourage and facilitate.
Yeah. I agree with that, Mr. Facey. But let me ask you a question, look. I would be remiss if I do have you on this program and I don't talk to you about your staff. What is the staff component like now? And it's like, how motivated is the staff? Are you getting a big turnover, or them just love the school like how we love it and them no want to leave at
all? If you'd asked me that probably 6 months ago, my answer would be different from what it is now. And 6 months ago was the wage alignment and the new wage structure for teachers, and you can't get around that. We have 72, 73 full-time staff and 4 more part-time teachers currently. I think we're very fortunate to have about maybe 3 or 4 past students on staff as full-time and 1 part-time person at our past students. So they already have a love for Meadowbrook and want to see it continue. Many of our teachers are very experienced. I think maybe more than 2/3 of our staff have 5 years or more, which is pretty good. But the changes of the last year and a half, with the increase of the recruitment programs in the Caribbean, North America, and Europe and beyond, people have had to be making some choices. We expect, regrettably, that we're going to lose maybe up to 7 to 8 members of staff this year for the new school year. And those members of staff are not going to just be general staff. Some of them are going to be senior staff members who are the ones that continue culture, help people integrate, and really help to drive the school forward. And that's just the harsh, economic realities of trying to care for your family, feeling as if, boy, you're not making headway and being offered what appears to be greener grass. I am not bad mind. I understand it, and that's the space that we have to function in. So we have some staff who are committed and want to do the best for the school. Some that are tired, and some that are for opportunities elsewhere. We don't know what the final numbers will be like, and if you ask me, probably mid-September, I can tell you then. But some people are still waiting for verification. Some people perhaps just want to make sure they can include other family members. So we fear that there will be some staff turnover, and it's not just the numbers, because maybe 7 or 10 may not look big out of 73, but if those 7 or 10 include 3 or 4 senior teachers, that is head of departments, head of year groups, you're talking about massive changes, because those persons are going to have somebody replace them. Plus, those persons are taking the institutional knowledge and expertise with them. So that is the real challenge. Well, it's more overseas than local, but there are some local. But it's more overseas than local.
STEM teachers, or is it pretty much the same?
It's everybody.
Okay.
Some are more in demand, but a lot of people are moving as well. I mean, you would think it's like the math, English, and science teachers, but we are losing business teachers and other subjects of that like. So
but a question, Mr. Facey, this sounds like it's not just a Meadowbrook problem alone. It sounds like
it's not. Everybody, many schools in Jamaica are nervously looking at what will happen September of this year, because when there was disquiet in the system about how the government was handling this process of the wage alignments and the new wage structure, the expectation by many administrators was that people would either vocalize their concerns, or they would use social media to comment. But what many of us saw was that many persons were strangely quiet. And what some of us thought, and what many of us are now seeing, is that they're quiet because they had made up their minds about what they want to do. So it's as if they decided, we're gonna look out for us, and you can do whatever you want because you've shown us how you view us. And that's the real challenge.
Yeah. When I hear that, Mr. Facey, it's more important that we have the big vision and get going, because a vision will definitely make teachers want to stay if they buy into the vision. I can say that it will help you keeping the teachers and staff with a big picture vision we were talking about earlier. That's what make a big difference. I can't see that. Gentlemen, believe it or not, we have been here, and I know Mr. Facey, we have been here for over an hour and a half, for 90 minutes. I know Mr. Facey didn't come here and things and put out the talk so long. But as it says, it's a conversation. And I saw the conversation I'm going to Mr. Facey. We just talk like with the Meadowbrook. I talk about Meadowbrook, but this is like, yeah. So, but let me ask you, and I don't know if these gentlemen have any more questions for you in terms of, say, let me ask a question of Mr. Facey. And it's one of the questions I ask is the past student that come on the program. And you have been at Meadowbrook since 2019. And this is a fun question. I have to ask you this. What is the most embarrassing moment that has happened to you at Meadowbrook since you have been there? If you can't say it, if it's not behind the paid wall.
I think I can. There are two. One, I'll give you the gentler of the two. So we had about a year and a half ago, we had a small ceremony to really recognize a teacher that was retiring, Mrs. Colleen Smith Dennis. English teacher, excellent lady, woman of class and distinction. So the several donated items were given to her, including 2 paintings and a sculpture. And I had to address her briefly. So I said, I hope you enjoy your pieces of art. And let's just say there's a nice chuckle across the room, because though pieces of art is fairly good English, I think the view that people had was that I was saying is a piece of work and not anything good. It's like somebody just throw something together. When I was trying to say, no man, as a teacher of English, me can't just say the little sculpture, the painting. I have to try and pretty it up. So there was that one.
Yeah.
Nice little chuckle that happened. But that's the gentle of the two. The other one, I cannot tell you.
Behind the paid wall. Okay, all right.
Yes, man. When you're here in Jamaica and it's me and you one sitting down, or me, you and Vivian and Keith, I would tell you that one. But not now.
All right, I will hold your word to it. When I come down, I would definitely.
Keith,
yeah.
I just like to throw into the mix. I guess somewhat of a congratulations to Mr. Facey. I had the opportunity to visit the school yesterday afternoon. Yeah. Mr. Facey wasn't there, so he probably doesn't know. But my mission was to get a school tie and a crest, because there's one of our past student deceased recently, and his family, Ricky, what's his name? Courtney
Garden. Yeah.
Courtney Garden. Yeah, he passed on last week, in fact. He used to play cricket and Meadowbrook and football for Meadowbrook. So they had asked me to get a school tie and a crest for him. So I was directed to the bookstore. So I went to the bookstore, and this was the first time I was actually going there. I didn't know there was a bookstore. Nice air-conditioned place. But what I was pleased with is the wear that they have there. They have some
jackets.
Apart from the tie and this, there's some nice shirts and jackets, stuff like that, which I think were reasonably priced. And I was attracted by them. I planned to go back there to buy one. I was just thinking that if these same things were on the same website,
they will be.
They was talking about.
They will be.
Great, yeah, man, because then they could be purchased online by past students. I think they'll be quite popular.
Yes, Major, because the blazer is one of the ones that really I like. The blazer thing.
Yes,
I
right.
think all of us should have a Meadowbrook blazer and a Meadowbrook old boy tie, a past student tie. Not one of the regular tie that everybody wears, but one that I have with the yellow in it, something like that, as the past student tie. I don't know what ladies might want a scarf or something, but we need to have these things, we build up a school vibe, and that is one of the reasons why Rick decided that he would go out in Meadowbrook style.
Yeah.
So I can't remember, they might not even remember, but when I just started playing sunlight cricket, Ray Boy and Herbie used to spin a toss in a blazer. I don't know if Major know that.
No, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, because Satap was trying to bring back something, and Mr. Simpson, who was the coach at the time, he let them put on the blazer when they go to spin the toss, so you take it off back when you come in. Just certain things that we used to do.
Yeah, man, that should look nice, yeah.
So we need a blazer. I need one. So we have.
We can work on that.
I will definitely need one and I come down, Mr. Facey. I was thinking and I say I come into a formal function. I don't even know about that.
Yeah, man, we need to build up these formal function. We see people wearing all kind of different color clothes.
Yeah.
Everybody have a blazer, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you look formal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We can work on. I'm not sure we can make it for the 65th, but we can work on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jelly, what they have there for you is they have the athletic shorts and the sort of marina looking tack top that yourself and
P Brown going you to the race. Okay, all right.
Can wear it.
For that unfinished race. Okay, all right, Keith. I hear I don't know if it's a face you wear at that race, but yeah.
No, it's enough. It's fine.
Yeah. But before, Vivian, I want if you have any questions for Mr. Facey before we look towards, because I don't want Mr. Facey for more than 2 hours there for hour and 45. I want to respect him time. I respect phone time though, because almost, well, it's 11 o'clock for me, so my time as well. So, Mr. Facey, we have been talking, and it just came to me as a talk, you know. We talk with the database of the 10,000 students who pass through Meadowbrook. But I don't want to overlook the amount of teachers who have passed through Meadowbrook who want to touch a whole heap of students, you know. Is there a way to start accumulate a database for the past teachers of Meadowbrook?
Yeah, there is a way. The thing is that we have employment records for many of our persons. Now, we've had 1 and 2 relocations and changes of where those records were kept over time. So some things have been misplaced. Some we're still looking for, but I think we have an ability to at least have a good start with that. There's far more data for that. But I agree with you. We should also be, in addition to the 10,000, we should be looking at those who serve the 10,000.
Yeah, man. And it's a two-way street in my mind now, because some of them might need help, and some of them might be able to help.
Agreed. So we've seen where some have helped. There's a teacher who taught Spanish for many years, Mrs. Liebert, who apparently died a few years ago. But her children have, as part of their legacy, Bursa, or an award for Spanish students in her honor, and they've been doing it for about 3 years to 4 years now. So
very nice.
It's things like that I think are really cool.
Yeah, man. Get in the database for the 10,000 and the amount of teachers who have passed through. We need to have that. That is like people can have access. We will find a way to make it use. Once you have the data, Mr. Facey, trust me, it is a whole heap of things they can do with it, man. I see the potential for it. You approach them the same way like how you approach the 10,000. This is a big vision we have. Meadowbrook at 100, as me say. Meadowbrook at 100. So yeah. Yep. Vivian.
Yes, Lance, thank you very much, and thank you, everybody. I think, as we can see from this discussion, that our main emphasis, I think, should be on the establishment of a first-class website that will allow us, to really implement a lot of these things that we have discussed, and that will give us all access to this information so that we can cooperate with each other and make informed decisions. So I am confident that that is where our emphasis needs to be initially, and that all other things will follow as a result of that. Thank you.
Freddie, you have any question for Mr. Facey that I probably didn't ask, or I could have asked? Anything?
No, not but to be honest, I just want to say, knowing Mr. Facey last year or so, I think he fits the bill, in his role as principal. And I just want to ask for his support from Mr. Facey. Now, I am willing to give what support I can, which is not too much, but I would ask all past students, no matter how long you came to Meadowbrook or whatever, give the support to Mr. Facey. Let him get to do his work in comfort without stressing and, little things is minor. I'm also happy to have Major because Major know how much I pressure him already to come out, and I won't stop pressure Major. Now I need Vivian number so I can start pressure Vivian also. Because what I try to do is every pastor that I meet outside, I would refer them to Mr. Facey. Mr. Facey, if I can give the number to them, is open, is welcoming, and all of that. So we don't have an obstacle in terms of getting to Mr. Facey. Is accessible at all times. Sundays, which I don't really call people because, church and all those things. But I call Mr. Facey on a Sunday morning and him answer the phone. And that make a difference to me. That gives me the impetus to go forward and give more. And I'm encouraging all of you to give the support. Vivian, long time, 40 odd years. Glad to hear you again. And
Thank you, Mike. Nice to hear you too.
Yeah, man. Take care, Vivian. Take care, Major. Safis, we talk.
Yeah. Lance, Jelly, just before you go.
No, but last question before I close it out, Keith. Yeah, I have a last question from Mr. Facey, yeah.
For those persons who are going to be seeing this podcast, what I want these Meadowbrook people to understand is that the requirements that we have, right, although we've discussed long-term, etc., we have requirements that are immediate, right? We also have requirements that are immediate. So you'd have to wait until all of the plans are put in place, right? Because the school does need your assistance, and the school needs your assistance now. Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
All right.
Keith, could you just elaborate as to how immediate assistance can be forwarded? What's the procedure, the easiest?
Principal at meadowbrookhighschool.net. Principal at meadowbrookhighschool.net.
Okay.
Yeah, if you contact that gentleman and introduce yourself, we will take the conversation forward.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to have to repeat that, Mr. Facey. Principal at meadowbrookhighschool.net.
Yep, that's it.
That if somebody want to contact, it's like that is an email address them can contact. If them have
Quite so.
Yeah.
Quite so.
And the school location hasn't changed. It's still 2A Meadowbrook Avenue.
It hasn't changed.
I have a last question for him, Mr. Facey, before I ask everybody for a closing remark. This is the last question I ask all the students, all of the past students who come on is, what made Meadowbrook magical? But I have to ask you a different way. Can Meadowbrook be magical? Can Meadowbrook be magical again?
Oh yeah, it already is. Every time I hear a past student say a teacher, a club, or a sport really made them a better person, that's magical to me.
Yeah. That's fair enough. All right, so I'm just going to ask each one of you a closing remark before I close it out. And I'm going to start with you, Freddie. Any closing remark before I close out the program?
It's a pleasure being here on this forum with very distinguished people, because I used to look up to Vivian as my farm prefect from them days, and I still do. I'm Major, me and Mr. Major can't hang out anywhere at all and things. So it's a good mix, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
Vivian, any closing remark before I close out the program here?
No, I'd just like to thank everybody and to say what a privilege it was for me also to share this platform with everybody present. And I am just feeling so confident about our future. And I would just like to thank all our listeners and all who have heard us and all who are thinking about doing something now. Thank you.
Keith, any closing remark before I close out the program here?
I'd just like to thank you, Jelly, for providing this this platform, this forum, right? I thank my co-panelists, Vivian and Freddie, right? And obviously a special thank you to Mr. Facey. Not too late, matter of fact, I'm sure I did it already, to welcome him into the Meadowbrook family. you know.
You did.
But I'm very, yes. I believe many past students share my opinion that we are very, very, I guess they say very bullish about the school under Mr. Facey's leadership.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Mr. Facey, any closing remark before I close out the program?
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this forum. And as I said, there is space and room for any past student to come and re-engage with Meadowbrook in a way that they're comfortable.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Facey. Thank you, Mr. So, gentlemen, Alfred Hitchcock Henry, Keith, Captain Major, I know him as Nuts, White, Captain White, Vivian Thomas, and our current principal of our beloved school at 2A Meadowbrook Avenue. I think is the right address. I hope I'm getting that right.
Yes, you got it.
Mr. Kevin Facey, it has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation about the vision of Mr. Facey have for our school, where we all share on this panel, and we hope to inspire the 10,000 people pass through Meadowbrook, to join into the vision, to make Meadowbrook be. Just think about Meadowbrook at 100, at 2058, one of the likes of the school has. That is what we are talking about. And it starts with, repeat the website, the email address, Mr. Facey. Start by contacting, and we're going to put things in place, and you're going to hear more and more about the big vision what we have, the big vision of Bottomfield. But it has been a pleasure, gentlemen. So I want to thank you all for coming. God bless all of us, and God bless that great school at 2A Meadowbrook Avenue, where allow us to have a conversation. Very good conversation, and open conversation, honest conversation. So have a good night, gentlemen, and thank you all for coming.
Good night, all. Take good care.
Yeah.
Night.
Good night.
Yeah, man, thank you. So remember to like, share, and subscribe these Meadowbrook Memories podcasts, so neither you nor your friends will miss another Meadowbrook conversation. Thanks. Thanks for listening to Meadowbrook Memories. And remember to give us all the support and encouragement you can on whatever social media platform you are listening. And special thanks to my production manager, Kyle Prince, who takes care of everything involved in getting the podcast out every week. And without him, this podcast would not be possible. It is his expertise that allows me to do what I love doing every week, having great conversations about Meadowbrook Memories, and he's responsible for everything else. So again, thanks to my production manager, Kyle Prince.